I want you to lean in close right now, because what I am about to tell you is something I wish someone had whispered in my ear over 40 years ago. I am 106 years old. I have watched the stock market crash and come roaring back. I have outlived 3 presidents, 2 husbands, and one very stubborn accountant who told me I was being dramatic. But nothing, and I mean nothing, has cost me more peace of mind in this long, long life of mine than the decision I made at 62 years old on a Tuesday morning when I walked into that Social Security office and said 5 words that I cannot take back. 5 words that have followed me like a shadow for more than 4 decades. I said, I want my benefits now. And honey, I am still paying for it. Before we go any further, if you are somewhere near retirement age, or you love someone who is, I need you to do something for me right now. Hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell. Because every single week on this channel, we talk about the real mistakes real people make with their retirement money. Not the fancy textbook stuff, but the stuff that keeps you up at night. The stuff I lived through. I do not want you making the same errors I made. That is the whole reason I am sitting here talking to you today. Now let's get into it. I was born in 1919. That means I have watched this country build the Social Security system from the ground up. I remember when Franklin Roosevelt signed it into law. I was 16 years old, standing in my mama's kitchen, and she looked at my daddy and said, well, at least we will have something. And that something became a promise that millions of Americans have built their retirements around. But here is the thing about promises. The promise is only as good as the decision you make about how to collect it. When I turned 62, I was tired. Lord, was I tired. I had worked for 37 years as a seamstress and a bookkeeper. My feet hurt, my back hurt, and my savings, well, they were there, but they were not exactly overflowing. I had about $40,000 put away, which in 1981 felt like a reasonable cushion, and I thought, why wait? Why sit around and let those years slip by when I could start collecting right now? My neighbor Edna, God rest her soul, she had just started taking her Social Security at 62 and was bragging about it every time we talked over the fence. She said, Dorothy, why are you waiting? Take the money while you can enjoy it. And I listened to Edna. Edna, who, bless her heart, did not know the first thing about actuarial tables or benefit reduction formulas, or what the Social Security Administration calls the permanent reduction penalty. I did not know those things either. And that was my first and most expensive mistake. When you claim Social Security at 62, you are not just getting your benefits a few years early. You are locking in a permanently reduced payment for the rest of your life. In my day, claiming at 62 meant my benefit was reduced by roughly 20% compared to what I would have received at my full retirement age. Today, depending on when you were born, that reduction can be even steeper. Some people lose up to 30% of their monthly benefit permanently, not temporarily, permanently. Every single month, for every single year you live after that, you receive less money than you were entitled to. Now, when I was 62, I expected to live maybe another 20 years, possibly 25 if I was lucky. I thought, if I start collecting early, I get more checks. More checks equals more money. And that math feels right when you are tired and your feet hurt and Edna is smiling over the fence. But that math is tragically wrong once you start accounting for something called the break-even point. The break-even point is the age at which waiting to claim would have paid off more than claiming early. For most people who claim at 62 versus waiting until their full retirement age, that break-even point lands somewhere in their late 70s, which sounds far away when you are 62, which does not sound far away at all when you are 106, and you have been receiving a reduced check every single month for 44 years. I have done the math. Oh, believe me, I have done the math. If I had waited until I was 70 to claim my Social Security, which is the latest you can delay and still earn those delayed retirement credits, my monthly benefit would have been roughly 76% higher than what I actually receive. 76%. On a fixed income that I have been living on for decades, that difference is not a rounding error. That difference is groceries and medications and the occasional dignity of choosing your own doctor. I want you to sit with that number for a moment, because 44 years is a long time to wish you had made a different choice on a Tuesday morning. Now I know what some of you are thinking. You are thinking, but Dorothy, what if I had taken that money early and invested it? Wouldn't that have made up the difference? And this is exactly the kind of question that sounds smart, but leads good people straight into the second trap I watched so many of my friends fall into. Yes, theoretically, you could take your early Social Security benefits and invest them. The idea is that the compounding returns would eventually outpace the larger monthly check you would have received by waiting. And in certain narrow circumstances, under very specific conditions, with the right investment knowledge and the right timing and the right stomach for risk, that strategy can work. But let me tell you what actually happens for most people. First, most people who claim early because they say they will invest the money do not actually invest the money. They spend it. Not because they are irresponsible, but because they are human, and retirement brings unexpected expenses. A medical bill here, a leaky roof there, a grandchild who needs help with college. The money gets absorbed. This is not a character flaw. This is just life. And suddenly, you have neither the investment returns nor the higher monthly benefit. Second, the people who do manage to invest their early benefits are often doing so at the exact moment in life when they have the least tolerance for investment risk. You are not 35 years old with 30 years ahead of you to recover from a market downturn. You are 62, 63, 64, and a significant market correction, the kind we have seen multiple times in my lifetime, can devastate a portfolio right when you need it most. Third, and this is the one that nobody talks about enough, Social Security is not just a retirement benefit. It is an insurance product. The government is essentially insuring you against the risk of living a very long life. When you delay claiming, you are buying a larger insurance policy against longevity. And as I sit here at 106, I can tell you with absolute authority that longevity risk is real. It is not a theoretical concern for a financial planner's spreadsheet. It is Tuesday morning at 106 years old, and you are trying to figure out how to stretch a check that was permanently reduced before your grandchildren were born. My friend Clara, she was the sharp one in our group, much sharper than Edna, she waited until 70 to claim. She passed away at 94. At the time, some people said she had left money on the table by waiting so long. But Clara spent 24 years collecting that larger check, and she spent those years traveling and eating well and never once worrying about outliving her money. She died with dignity and with resources, and she told me once, 2 years before she passed, that waiting to claim was the single best financial decision she ever made. I have never forgotten that conversation, There is another layer to this that I wish someone had explained to me back in 1981, and it involves spousal benefits. If you are married, your decision about when to claim does not just affect you. It affects your spouse, potentially for years or even decades after you are gone. The surviving spouse is entitled to the higher of the two Social Security benefits that were being received in the household. So if you claimed early and locked in a reduced benefit, and your spouse outlives you, they inherit that reduced benefit. You have essentially made a financial decision that constrains your spouse's income in widowhood. That is a weight I carry, and I carry it knowing my second husband, Earl, lived until he was 88 and collected my reduced survivor benefit for years after I thought he would outlive me. We were lucky in love. We were not as lucky in this particular financial calculation. And then there is the COLA problem. The cost of living adjustments that Social Security applies each year are calculated as a percentage of your existing benefit. If your base benefit is permanently lower because you claimed early, then your COLA increases are also permanently smaller in dollar terms. The gap between what you receive and what you could have received does not stay the same over time. It grows. Every single year, the compounding effect of a lower base benefit means the person who waited is pulling further and further ahead. Over a long retirement, and as I am proof, retirements can be very, very long, this compounding gap becomes staggering. I want to be honest with you. I did not know any of this at 62, and I am not sure I would have found someone to explain it to me clearly, even if I had gone looking. Financial literacy for working women of my generation was not exactly a priority. We were expected to trust our husbands, or our accountants, or our neighbor Edna. And when all three of them pointed toward the same choice, I made it. I made it without understanding the permanent consequences. That is why this channel matters. That is why I want you to subscribe. Because the information that was not available to me in 1981 is sitting right here in your hands, and you deserve to have it before you make the same walk to that Social Security office that I made. So let us talk about what you should actually do. Because I am not here just to make you feel scared. I am here to make you feel prepared. And there is a very meaningful difference between those two things. The first thing I want you to understand is that the decision about when to claim Social Security is not one size fits all, but it has a strong directional bias for most people, and that direction is weight. The people who genuinely benefit from claiming early are a specific and relatively small group. They are people with serious health conditions who have strong reason to believe their life expectancy is significantly below average. They are people in genuine financial emergency with absolutely no other source of income and no ability to continue working even part-time. And they are, in some cases, people in specific claiming strategies with their spouses that require one partner to claim early while the other delays. If you are not firmly in one of those categories, the evidence tilts heavily toward waiting. Now, I understand that is easier said than done. One of the biggest drivers of early claiming is the fear that something will happen to Social Security itself, that the program will run out of money before you can collect what you are owed. I hear this fear often, and I want to address it directly. Social Security has faced financial challenges throughout its history. There have been reforms. There will likely be more. But the program has never missed a payment in its entire existence, and the political reality of cutting benefits for tens of millions of retirees and near retirees makes dramatic reductions extremely unlikely. Adjustments, yes, Elimination, no. And claiming early to get yours before it runs out is a gamble that the program's financial history does not support making. The second thing I want you to understand is the power of what is sometimes called a bridge strategy. If you want to retire at 62 or 63, but you do not want to claim Social Security yet, the bridge strategy involves drawing down other assets, savings, a 401k, an IRA, to cover your living expenses while you allow your Social Security benefit to grow. Yes, you are spending down your savings, but every year you delay claiming, your Social Security benefit grows by somewhere between 6 and 8%, depending on your age relative to your full retirement age. That is a guaranteed government-backed return that no market investment can promise you. Using your savings as a bridge to a larger guaranteed lifetime income stream is, for many people, a very rational use of those assets. The third thing I want you to think about is what I call the longevity conversation. Sit down, whether alone or with your spouse or with a trusted financial advisor, and have an honest conversation about how long you might live. Look at your parents, your grandparents. Look at your own health. If you come from a family of long livers, every year you delay claiming is potentially worth more than the last. My mother lived to 98. Her mother lived to 91. When I walked into that Social Security office at 62, I should have looked at those women and done the math differently. I did not. And their long lives, which should have been a gift that informed my planning, instead became the quiet backdrop against which my mistake compounded year after year. And the fourth thing, perhaps the most important practical thing I can leave you with, is this. Before you make any decision about when to claim Social Security, use the tools that are available to you. The Social Security Administration has a website where you can create an account and see your projected benefits at different claiming ages. There are calculators, there are advisors who specialize in Social Security optimization, and there is this channel right here where we try to give you the kind of straight, plain talk that I wish I had received. None of those resources were available to me in 1981. All of them are available to you today. I have lived a remarkable life. I have seen things that would fill 10 books and still leave chapters out. I would not trade a single day of it, not even the days that were hard. But when people ask me what I would do differently, the answer is almost always the same. I would have walked back out of that Social Security office on that Tuesday morning. I would have gone home, sat down with a cup of coffee and a pencil and a pad of paper, and I would have done the math. The real math. Not the more checks sounds like more money math. The 40 years of living on a permanently reduced income math. I would have waited, and if you are approaching this decision right now, if you are 58 or 60 or 62, or you are helping a parent think through this, I am asking you, with all the weight of 106 years and every dollar I have left on the table, please do not make the mistake I made. The money you give up by claiming early does not disappear into the ether. It goes to the people who waited. It goes to the Claras of the world who trusted the math and reaped the reward for 24 comfortable years. You can be Clara. You still have time to be Clara. And if this video helped you today, if it gave you even one piece of information that changes how you think about this decision, please do 3 things for me. Like this video so other people can find it. Share it with someone you love who is getting close to retirement age. And subscribe to this channel because every week we put out information just like this. Practical, honest, sometimes uncomfortable, but always aimed at helping you protect the retirement you have worked your whole life to earn. I am 106 years old, and I still care about your financial future. That ought to tell you something. Now go do your homework.